Hi guys, welcome to Toni's Tarot and Astrology. Today I'm going to be doing a spread for each of the zodiac, and we're going to be looking at the new moon in Taurus and the energies of the new moon and the influences that we'll have over the next month. So with this new moon in Taurus, we have Uranus sitting right there 4 to 5 degrees away, about 4.5. Now Uranus is all about sudden change, sudden energies that has just come out of the blue and can completely turn us around into a new direction. So it's going to be a very exciting month for many with this. And Taurus sitting here. Taurus is all about security, it's about our assets, our finances, and really where we place our values. And really, quite often where we place our values is where we feel secure. So let's start with Aries. Just going to do a spread for Aries. Looking at the astrology for Aries, this new moon, Uranus and Node is all sitting in the second position of finances and security. So that is going to be really the utmost importance for you, for Aries this month. Is going to be financial security, ideas on how to create that security, and there could even be a complete sudden change to do with property or to do with assets. Great month for Aries to be looking at how they want to build their security up. Well, Aries has also got Mercury sitting in the third position, and this is going to be very good for communications, very good for writing, or for wanting to put yourself out there, marketing yourself, networking with others. So Mercury is really quite happy sitting there in the third house, encouraging ideas, plans, and using your mind for that. Pluto is sitting in the 10th. This is quite a powerful placement to be sitting there. This is going to give you a drive towards achieving your goals, but also at times feeling like these goals can be quite unreachable and that fate is taking its own hand at things. Saturn is sitting in the 11th, and this is around your house of friendships, and with that you could feel a little bit disconnected from friendships at times, or even feel like certain friendships have outworn their loyalty, if you like, or you may feel that only the people that you feel are loyal at this point in time that you are wanting to connect with. Venus-Jupiter is sitting in your 12th house with Mars and Neptune. Now, Venus-Jupiter is actually on the cusp. It's about to go into the first house. And once that happens, which I think was probably today, it's going to really start to move things along for your productive energies for business. So let's have a look at what it says for Aries. With Venus-Jupiter in the 12th, this is all the ideas that have been sitting there, stewing away, waiting. They're about to come out into the fore for some new productive venture. Sounds very exciting. So, looking here at Aries. Right. So, Aries may be feeling some stress actually at this point in time. You do have Chiron sitting there in your first house, where this has been a time of healing. Chiron has been sitting in your first placement, and it's been sitting in Aries. This is Chiron here for a little while now, and it can feel a bit tumultuous. It's a time when we're needing to go in deeper, to really understand, really understand what makes us tick, what triggers us, because this is all about the pain body, as Eckhart Tolle used to say. I prefer to call it the deep-seated areas that we're needing to heal. And, you know, this is going to be coming out, but it could feel a bit tumultuous. And with Aries, they don't do things in halves. So stay calm, Aries. Now, there does seem to be some very good news around Aries for being able to move forward into new productive energy, into their own area, their own thing. Aries likes to be in charge. Aries represents the Emperor in Tarot and likes to be the leader, really likes to be in charge of their own business or their own thing, if you like. This is showing that they're quite likely going to be assistance through others, male and female energy. They're helping to build up certain goals or dreams that you may have been, like I said, things that have been stewing away in the background that are about to come to the fore. Still, with Aries, I'm getting that you're still needing to be patient. That's, of course, a challenge. But also being patient with your own processing, meaning be patient with your own healing, that you are clearing, and could be quite suddenly clearing past hurts, past trauma, and anything that has been thrown you pretty much out of your body in the past. So that looks like that is coming up for healing. There is definitely a vision or a plan, and Aries needs to really start to put that energy into planning, writing, really starting to see their dream coming to fruition. In other words, their goals, their direction, the things that they are needing to be doing independently for themselves. But what seems to be coming up very strong for Aries here seems to be about partnerships, coming together with others, accepting the help of others, and this is really where a lot of security will come from. Now, this would make sense with the node in the second house, as well as Uranus and the Sun Moon, because they may not be been expecting a situation, a help up from another person, or a sudden partnership, but it does look like this is where things will start to really move forward for them. And just another thing for Aries, again, because there's a little bit of a feeling of conflicting ideas around Aries right now, is that, again, just to be patient, don't jump the gun if you can. If you have Mercury in Aries as well, of course, that's really hard, but don't jump the gun. Just wait, just be patient with regards to other people, and just allow them to express themselves in their way to get full understanding and cooperation going on here. Team effort seems to be really, really important for Aries at this time. So that's Aries. Let's look at Taurus. So Taurus, we have the Sun, the Moon, Uranus and the Node all sitting in their first placement. So this should be a very interesting time for Taurus, as they are able to project their own image, their own sense of self, which could even be changing with Uranus sitting there. They may want to reinvent themselves in some way, or redo how their direction, might want to change of direction, could also be at hand. What else has Taurus got going on? And again, help and assistance through others is going to be really important. Security is also going to be on the mind of Taurus during this month, with Mercury sitting there in the second house. Just see, yes, that's going to be on the month. And, you know, this is going to really allow Taurus to fully structure, if you like, their plans and their direction, their new ideas, their desire for security, and even if it's around wanting to purchase property, wanting to build up more security, or even to change or create business, you know, again, writing it down is going to be very, very beneficial, or planning it out one way or another. Taurus also has Saturn sitting up there in the 10th, which means that they're very determined to succeed, even though sometimes it can feel like it's a long way up to the top of that hill. You will get there. Saturn means that, you know, it doesn't make it easy, but it means that you're not going to give up. You have Mars and Neptune sitting there in the 11th house, so it could be a great time for socialising and entertaining. Overindulgence could also be on the cards there, with the Neptune sitting there in the 11th. But also with that Mars and Neptune, you could be looking at like spiritual activities, connecting and channeling, and so forth. Venus-Jupiter has also been sitting in the 11th, which makes it a great time socially. That's about to move into the 12th, which means that you will be at a deeper level preparing for productive things coming in, and even possibly new energies around relationships. Chiron's sitting in the 12th, so that's quite a deep area of healing for Taurus as well. And I would say, Taurians, you'll be doing a lot of your healing during sleep time or through meditation. So let's just have a look at the cards for Taurus. So yes, relationships and partnerships seem to be a theme here for Taurus. Now this is not necessarily in the traditional sense of it being situated in the 7th house, but more so I feel connecting up to the segment of friendships and connections that can be really, really important for the future. Also showing that this is a great time for entertaining still, and that you will be feeling like bringing people into the home, and also making plans with others for future security. Now, even though it's represented as the home, I sort of get the feeling of coming together and to do with groups of people that is really solid, a solid foundation, and really building up on your network of people through that. So that sort of images teamwork from it, what I'm seeing there, a lot of future teamwork. There are some thoughts about moving or just needing a bit of a break away for Taurus here in the near future. And I feel just getting away, getting by the sea. There's quite a psychic, I just need to see here so I can see where this is coming from. But there is quite a psychic time going on for Taurus in the near future, with lots of ideas and inspirations coming in. But that could even be about where one's meant to be, or where one could be happier. Maybe you want to live more by the sea. Maybe you just want to have a lot more peace in your life and a lot more time to feel relaxed and to feel connected. I feel like for Taurus, we're coming to the road, to the end of a hard road. Now, I'm not quite sure what that's meaning. Just trying to see if I can see that from the astrology. I think with Saturn that's been sitting in the 10th house for quite a while, it's probably a feeling of that. But what it's actually, I think, doing is, where do you want to really put your dedication and your time? Your time is precious, and where you're putting your time is where the energy is going to grow. It's where you're going to get back as well. So it could be looking at where we're putting our energy into for Taurus. Now, interesting here with the outcome of Taurus seems to be, again, a lot to do with friendships, connections, and accepting the love and help from others. Taurus is quite independent, quite a strong sign. It's a very feminine sign, so they do like to, they certainly enjoy the male principle, and the male principle in balance with the female, as in being treated like a woman, as in a man likes to be treated like a man. But it looks like here there's going to be very important connections around the male principle. Now, of course, this isn't just for women that I'm reading for here. This is also for men. And it could also mean that, you know, there's a good friendship, a good connection with males. It's going to be really offering a lot of help and insight into the future. Will even surprise you at this connection, because sometimes we can assume something is one way, and then we can see through a person that actually there's two ways things can work, not just one. So I'm not quite sure what I'm meaning with that, but it feels like making connections with someone who we may have felt wasn't really thinking along the same lines, or wasn't really focused, and see that they actually do have focus, but they're just doing what they're doing in a whole different way. So there's very, very positive for water energy, especially around the male principle, for Taurus. In other words, of watery connections, friendships, relationships, people with connections to men of water signs, or also of a soft, dreamy nature. So that looks really good. It also looks really good, like I said, for productivity. Things are going to pick up for Taurus as far as productive energy goes. There is going to be a lot of help coming through genuine, nice male energy. The other thing for Taurus here seems to be the energies going into working in a different way, working in a way that is going to be more in alignment with them. So this is again a values check time, and I think Uranus is going to hit us hard to make us really look at where do our values sit, but also when this happens, where do we go from here? You know, what is what we're doing really meaningful and assisting humanity? So that's Taurus. Moving on to Gemini. So for Gemini, your astrology is Mercury in the first house, and that's perfect for Geminis. They love to talk, of course, being the sign of Mercury. They're great communicators. They're great for getting information out into the world, and this is even projected more with Mercury sitting there right at the beginning at 1 degree Gemini. So excellent time for getting the word out, for writing, for communications with others. Gemini is going to be on full form. So Gemini also has Venus, Jupiter. It's been sitting in the 10th. It's sitting on the cusp. It's moving into the 11th. So it's been very productive. Actually, probably in the last month has been quite productive for Gemini. Mars and Neptune will slow things down. Mars is, of course, going to push things along, but Neptune's going to go, oh, is it right? You know, there could be some self-doubt about, you know, whether we're in the right career, but it's really going to be proving that you have been doing the right things. So Venus, Jupiter is moving into the 11th house, which is going to be an excellent time for socialising, for connecting up with friends. Chiron's been sitting there over the last month, so you've probably been feeling like doing quite the opposite, like everybody's been a bit too harsh or hurtful. Not saying that Gemini is terribly sensitive, but they do, because they need that interaction constantly, they do pick up on others' energies quite easily. So with Chiron sitting there in the 11th means that, you know, that could be reflecting some of the pain that they have, past trauma or past pain. Everyone has Chiron, everyone has past pain. It's just where it's sitting might be in the 11th house for Gemini. Once Venus, Jupiter moves in there, like I said, that's going to make you feel like really getting out and being social again. So you have this, you have all of these, the Sun, the Moon, the Node, and Uranus sitting there in the 12th, which is a little bit of a contradiction to Mercury being in the first, where you can, like I said, get the word out, get yourself out there. With the Sun and the Moon there, you're sort of wanting to be more internalized, and projecting your energy isn't quite so easy with the Sun in the 12th. But it's a very good time for psychic energy, the Sun and the Moon, and especially with Uranus, because Uranus just hits us like a lightning bolt when it comes to the intuition. Uranus is, I see it as the higher mind. So it's sort of that higher intuition that we get that comes in very quick. The Node is also sitting there. The Node is connections and people, and it's also sitting there in the 11th house. So again, reinforcing friendships having a lot of importance at this time. So let's have a look at Gemini. So it'd have to be a random cut, wouldn't it, for Gemini? Oh, the star in the world, that's pretty fantastic. Wow. Some pretty big things going on here for Gemini. Saying raise your vibration, Gemini. It's saying that you have a lot of positive energy around you, and you can connect into that and raise your vibration. And when you do that, you can shift the energy around others as well, the energy that you're projecting out into your immediate environment. Now this is going to be important because, just as a contradiction, there was a bit of a tumultuous time coming up here for Gemini, where let me just see if I can see where that is. Pluto in the 8th, maybe. Where there's some frustrations. And I think this is all relative to feeling stuck, feeling like you can't move forward. Now, it's interesting because I'm seeing Gemini absolutely being able to move forward here. So this is only a temporary setback, whatever's going on here. This has been, like I said, an inward time, and Gemini is very capable of shifting vibrations, connecting in music, arts, even communication, getting out in nature. It's like you have a lot to give and a lot to project out. And so when things tighten up or things get a bit tough, and I think that could be happening on a general scale, Geminis take that quite harsh or struggle with that. And if there's the feeling with this frustration is almost like there's a difficulty within communication. Now, we are going through a retrograde, and the retrograde is going to be going this month, and it is going to be going through Gemini, Taurus, and then back through into Gemini again. So that would make some sense with regards to this Mercury retrograde being in Gemini, with Geminis really feeling that frustration if they're not able to really express themselves. But the other side of it is that you have very good news coming in, and this news is going to be so helpful. It's going to allow you to really fully express your true nature, something that you've been waiting for quite a while. Yeah, bring it on. It's comes in and it's saying take the opportunity as it comes in, because you are moving into a whole new cycle. We have 3 aces here, and it's the first time this has come up for any of the signs yet. With the changes are about a whole new direction, and really, I think, moving into what you're really wanting to do. Geminis can struggle sometimes with part of them doing this particular area or this particular work, and then this other side really doesn't want to. And it's that full balance of almost like I've got to put on face for here for work, and then I've got my home face. And this is actually saying you can be your authentic true self and use your true full expression in any environment in the future. But it's recognizing what environment you really want to put yourself into. So there could be some changes around career, but what seems to be coming up more so seems to be, again, about working in conjunction and communication with others, and working within teams, and planning and organising teams. So Gemini is very good at organisation with regards to multitasking and dealing with people. They're very social. They're very good within any areas where they're dealing with the public. And I feel like Geminis are going to want to step more out into the public, or more into the team, and be more, not necessarily the leader, but more interactive and more involved in the vision for the future. So that's an excellent time for Gemini. It's interesting with Gemini and this Mercury retrograde, because it feels like being sensitive to harsh words. Again, this is a Gemini, transit with the retrograde, and Gemini can actually be quite straightforward and quite straight up with the communication. But I feel like when it's for manipulative purposes, that really sort of sets them cold. I'm not saying Gemini, I mean any sign is capable of that, and I'm not saying Geminis are. I'm saying that Geminis are, there's almost a refusing to buy into those games, because Gemini understands mind games more than any other sign, and you can't play mind games with Gemini. So if that sort of situation is going on around you, it feels like they're just wanting to remove themselves and make new plans for the future. Looks really exciting for Gemini. Like I said, you've got some real wonderful blessings around you in your energy field, some situations that will be a bit challenging, but again, that's going to inspire you for new things, which is really going to lead you to a lot more fulfillment and happiness to do with your particular skills and purpose. So, Cancer. So, star sign Cancer. Now, Cancer has, while I shuffle, In the 7th house, Cancer has Pluto. Now, Pluto is it's a strong fated energy. It's it sits right out there on its own. I see within numerology, I see Pluto representing 0. It represents nothing and everything. Pluto is that deeper subconscious that is just pulling away at us, forcing us into change. But it does it slow and subtly. It represents fate, Pluto, in lots of ways, and the combinations it makes aspects to represent what areas fate is coming in and actually taking a sort of stronger hold on your life. So we're not talking about karma like Saturn, where it's about our lessons that we come here to learn. This is more Pluto is why Pluto is our fate on why we came here, what we are meant to learn. It brings us together with people. It pulls us apart from people. It brings us together with people in the right times. When Pluto's sitting in a certain place, it can feel like a power struggle, especially in the 7th house. It can feel like a power struggle within relationships. So let's just have a look and see what's going on there. The new moon is sitting in the 11th house for Cancer, so this is going to be a really good time socially. But Chiron is sitting at the 10th, and I feel like for Cancer, you've been going through a huge healing process. It's really important to put your health, make your health a priority before work and your goals, and also to look at when I say health is really just about healing that which we have, that has traumatized us, that has afflicted us in the past. As they say, disease is dis-ease, and it's disease in the body. So there's a strong look at that, and it's with Chiron there, it sort of may mean that some Cancers have taken a bit of a step back in order to do a bit of inner search, or that they're concerned over their health. Of course, I don't feel it's a concern. I feel that it's more of an opportunity to look at what we need to clear and heal. So good time for friends, or socialising with friends, for Mercury in the 11th house as well there. So Cancer, we have very good news in the near future with regards to career. So there seems to be some forward movement, and also plans around finances and security seem to be coming up very strong for Cancer here. So this is a time where you may be looking at legal documents or papers with regards to purchasing of assets. There's also new opportunities here to think about career changes or how you would be preferring to spend your time. So I see this as a bit of a break for Cancer, as not having to, do the hard slog with work, but to see that they can actually be doing what they really enjoy, but still be fulfilling their financial obligations and making a lot of security for themselves as well at the same time. So that is good news. Cancers are they can be very cautious when it comes to making decisions, especially if they're uncertain about the situation, or if they're feeling that they don't know everything about the situation. They're good at looking into situations and finding out more. So I feel like if you've got to make a decision, just take your time. If you're feeling that you can't trust somebody, that issue seems to be here. To be honest, I'm not saying that that's actually real. That could be that that is just your cautious nature. But trust your instinct. It is actually really, really powerful with Cancer. Cancers keep a lot of their emotions hidden, a lot of what's going on for them under the surface. If you think of the shell of the crab, you remove that shell, and it's really a lot of soft, very, very vulnerable tenderness underneath all that, and you can see why they need a hard shell to protect it. So Cancers can naturally feel vulnerable, and they can have a bit of a tough exterior to actually hide that fact. But I think here the message for Cancer is to be open with what's going on emotionally. There does seem to be some trying to balance out things, whether this is in family, feels like trying to balance out work, career, and commitments and family situations. And of course, that's very important to Cancer, is the responsibility to provide, but also to actually be there for family. And it's saying that, even though you may have been career driven, there's always time that can be spent with others, and that others will benefit from your ingenuity and from your ability to create and manifest. So Cancers are very good business people. It's showing here also that, there's a lot of latent talents here with Cancer that can also be sparked now. So I think some of the deeper stuff here, it's a lot of it, it's really to do with the mind. It's not anything physically necessarily happening. A lot of it is on the emotional level, and I think, for Cancer, if they can go in and try to clear out a lot of these feelings, because a lot of these feelings they don't need to actually have. They take on board a lot more responsibility than they need to, and if they have been in denial over certain things and certain emotions, they certainly will look into that in their own timing. And I just feel it's time for Cancer to turn inwards a bit more and look at what's going on. With Chiron sitting there, it does feel like new things taking importance of what is real and true to them. So, like I said, that is really good news to see that you have some excitement going on there, something to do with teamwork and expanding on business and financial ability. Good investments possibly as well. So, Leo. Now, what does Leo have going on? Leo has Pluto in the place of work. No rest for the wicked. Pluto sitting there in the place of work, it could actually feel a bit cramping. It could feel a bit like I am actually over this week situation, and being told, clocking in. This sounds more like a Virgo thing, but it's showing Leo. Being stuck to the system, a lot of that they might feel like they want to break free from that. Leo could also be feeling a bit of frustrations with their relationships with Saturn in the 7th house. Though, Saturn on the other side is commitment. Of course, it does depend on age. When we're young, we tend to just want to run away from situations and separate. When we get older and Saturn comes up to rear its ugly head, we tend to make more commitments. We tend to gain better understanding and truly gain a better understanding of what loyalty is. So Leo has Mars and Neptune in the 7th. Sorry, I'm on the wrong line there. Sorry, because Leo has Saturn in the 7th. Leo has Venus, Jupiter has been sitting in the 8th, and Mars, Neptune. So that's been a little bit heavy, looking at what we're needing to clear out. And Venus, Jupiter is about to move into the 9th house, and that will be a really good time for expanding your ideas for travel, for moving forward. Chiron's sitting there right now, which has probably been a bit of a thorn in your side, wanting to move around and finding there's a lot of restrictions going on. Now Leo has the new moon, Uranus and the node sitting in the 10th house. So that's going to be all about your career, and Mercury in the 11th, and that's going to be all about your friendships. So good communications with connections and friends, and definitely I feel a big changes going on in your career with the Sun, Moon, Uranus node going on there. So let's see what the cards say. Okay, interesting for Leo, because I was picking up this 7th house issue, partnership issue, and when I say it's an issue, it may not be an issue, but it is about, sometimes the Saturn just means we've been away from partner, could mean that we're not feeling connected. The interesting thing with this is saying exactly the opposite. So I feel by the end of the month, you're going to be feeling so much more committed to your relationships, and especially your soul connections, and where you're going to be really putting a lot of effort into working on things, and appreciation of the time you've spent together, appreciation of the loyalty shown, and all those wonderful qualities of Saturn, which is that commitment, that true dedication to another. So we have for Leo, there seems to be some good news here where you've been waiting on it. It's about moving into a much more productive situation. It could be either a business change or a property change here. And it looks like the go-ahead is saying yes, you can move forward now. So there is absolutely some forward movement here where things are coming back into a better balance. Like I said, with that Jupiter Venus for Leo moving into the 10th house, you're absolutely at the top of the mountains. They're going, yeah, this is where I want to be. There's also very good news about finances for Leo, and some form of celebration. So this is around work. It's like a financial injection into your work situation. Now, Leo, you're not feeling very good in the mind here, which is really a big contradiction to how the cards look. And I'm sorry I can't show you the cards, but the camera said it leave. But what we have here, just, I don't think you want to look at these cards because they're just looking like, woe is me. I'm not sure where I'm going, and everything has been really disappointing. And we can feel like we're a bit stuck in this mindset of going around and feeling like we're not getting ahead, or feeling like we can't move forward, because there is a sense of having to be patient, and Leo likes to be doing, likes to be active, likes to be planning and organising and preparing, working on their business or working on their plans. They're very organised sign in that way, and with that in mind here, and in the mind, it's sort of saying that no, there isn't that energy for that, because it doesn't feel like that's happening. And I guess that's what Leo has to do, while Leo is being told to just sit down and be patient. But Leo isn't going to be sitting there in this uncomfortable position for much longer, because there is going to be a big break and relief for Leo here. Really good news with work. Lots of people here to help you out. I feel good connections and friendships around you having that importance. And again, that confirms this Mercury in the 11th. That's very useful, having Mercury there, because it's not just about the sun being there where you can just want to get out and socialise. This is about you communicating with others, and communication is, I feel, about work, career and plans. So Leo, where you've been feeling a bit frustrated, whether it's family, whether it's partners, whether it's, or disconnected, this is a new time coming in of full appreciation for the connections, the relationships, the soul family around you, and that's a true recognition of soul family. Any Leos on their own, this will be a great time to be going into relationship. If if you're feeling like it's never going to happen, if that's part of what this feeling sad is about, whatever it's about, I really feel the universe is going to show you something really different very soon. So just hang in there. Excellent. Moving on to Virgo. So Virgo has Saturn in the 6th house. So where I was describing Leo saying I'm sick of this job, well, this is, and I said it's more of a Virgo thing, this is definitely going to be Virgo this month with Saturn there, either feeling like it's not saying it's going to be sick of the job, but Virgo has got a hard-working month here with Saturn sitting there in the 6th house, but Virgo's used to that. Virgo's one of the hardest workers. They put in 140%, and then feel quite disconcerted when no one recognises it. But with Saturn there, I think they're not gonna feel so. They need that. They're just going to get on with it. They know what they have to do. But it will be just head down, and not much time for anything else. So let's have a look. Yeah, not much time for anything else. But it is going to be Very, very worth it, because where you put your energy in, when you put your energy in, when Saturn demands the energy, you do get the rewards. You don't get the rewards straight away, because Saturn means you've got to wait. Saturn is always about patience, waiting, planning, but it's about one thing at a time, taking the steps, dedicating yourself to something, and the work is the dedication. Now, Venus, Jupiter, it's been sitting in the 7th, which is really nice for relationships and connections. It's moving into the 8th, which I think is going to help with any business ventures that you may be thinking about. You could start to really focus in on how you can draw in extra finances to back this up. Mars and Neptune will be still sitting in your 7th house, and this is going to be a really good time for doing creative things with partners and activities. This new moon is sitting in your 9th house, so there's also a time to expand your mind, maybe do some new learning, or just picking up new interests of higher learning could be interesting. Mercury's in the 10th, so the focus is going to be, like I said, career and getting to the top, for either creating your own or getting into that higher position that you wanted in your career. So let's have a look for Virgo and see what cards come up. So pretty much reiterating what I've just said there with the astrology, that there is a lot of goals, a lot of direction, a lot of focus for Virgo for this month on where they're really wanting to be. But important to keep your sights on the goal, and not that Virgos get distracted, but there seems to be outer influences that can actually make things feel a bit chaotic, so that you're feeling like it's all too hard and it's all too stressful and I can't even got the time to do it. Now, if you've got these plans and you're wanting to get a lot done this month, like I said, just persevere. But if you have to step aside, don't be hard on yourself. If you have to go, look, I've got to deal with this now and I can't deal with that, and I just feel we're talking about work and home, or work and personal life, this is a time to actually recognise where you need to make time for more personal life, but also it's a time to actually take time out from work as well. Yeah, there seems to be a feeling of not agreeing with somebody else here for Virgo for this month. As in a situation where you're needing to be in agreement. So whether it's with a partner and you're looking at, say, stepping forward into new situations, whether you're wanting to change your career, whether you're wanting to look at new property, it feels like something's sort of been a bit disappointing and not quite working out, but there does seem to be new plans. And I think Virgo, it's like they've got it all planned, and then something comes in and it might upset the apple cart a little bit, and it's like, just keep going with it. Don't let this phase you, because you're in a really, really powerful time. May might be a bit of a tough month as far as this, head down and getting into the work, but I feel like June will be one where it just flows, and where you can really start to manifest this ideal and this dream that you have. So any areas that you've got, you're wanting to create something completely new from what you've been doing, I feel like this isn't the month, but during this month, the realizations, the understandings that you're needing will come to you for this. So it is a time to be reflective and to be looking at what your needs are, and just trying to not get frustrated with your working circumstances. The thing for Virgo is that they need to be excited and passionate about what they're doing. Like I said, they put in 120, 50% into their work, where some people will do a 60, some do a 99%. Virgos do always go that bit further, but they don't do it for themselves. They're the sign of service. They're service to others, and they are of great service to others. And as long as they're doing service to others, but building it up for themselves in their own, something that suits their own lifestyle, then they'll find the true happiness and also the true fulfillment. So for Virgo, they need to feel passionate about what they're doing. So find what makes you really excited and focus on that. If you're thinking, what can I do to get out of my situation? Okay, Virgo. Libra. So, lovely Libra. What we have for you is Pluto's been sitting in your 4th house. So sometimes I mention Pluto and sometimes I don't. It really depends on the house. It's got to be in a strong house to be effective because it's been sitting there for so long. We could do a whole reading on that itself, as in Pluto's a very slow moving sign. But if it's sitting in one of the angular houses, the 1st, the 4th, the 7th or the 10th, I will mention it. And for Libra, we've got Pluto sitting in the 4th. So this is a house of home, and so that can be a little bit hard at times. I mean, you could have gone through transformational situations in the home. You may have completely changed what you've been doing from living with family to living on your own, or fate has you back living at home again, or you could just be feeling a bit cramped, or when I say cramped, as in sort of slightly controlled by the presence of others. And that just means that when you're saying slightly controlled, just means that people like to have their own control of their own environment in which they live, and you may feel like you're encumbering on someone else, or that they're encumbering on you. Saturn has been sitting in the 5th, and this is a bit of a hard placement for Libra because Libra is a very creative sign, a very creative mind, and the 5th house is the creative house, and Saturn there is almost like, creativity sort of become hard work. So just persevere with that if you are in a creative field for Libra, or it could actually go in your favour if you're doing a lot of detailed, say if you were working creatively like in architecture or something that's very Saturnine in that way, structural. But if you're wanting like a free flow creativity, I feel like Saturn could be a bit rigid with that. Venus and Jupiter's been in your 6th house, in your house of work, so work has probably been reasonably pleasant. Mars has been there, but Neptune's been also sitting there too. So Libra, I'm sure you've had your days off work. A bit of pretend sickness, as Libra likes to every now and then. Chiron is sitting in the 7th house, so that has been reflecting times of healing with regards to partnerships. So whether you've had a partner that has been dealing with a lot of stuff, or dealing with past trauma that's come to the surface, or whether it's been your own trauma around relationships, or whether just being in relationships during this time has been hard going, it's what it's doing is it's allowing you to understand yourself and what you have to offer and what you're actually needing from relationships. Chiron opens up a can of worms, but it also allows the healing to take process. So once we go through the Chiron process, we come out quite transformed. We don't hang on to the same things. We don't have the same issues we had. So the new moon, the sun moon, Uranus node is sitting in your 8th house. So this is a time of healing for Libra, in the sense of purging, releasing whatever you no longer need. The focus could be on finances, but not necessarily your control of finances. It could be other people's control. Could be to do with the work, in the sense of wanting pay rise or waiting for money to come in, banking, or it can even be to do with family trusts and so forth. So for this, it's sort of saying there that you're going to go through a bit of a rebirthing process of what is important. There will be some changes around this situation for you if it's been ongoing with regards to feeling financially a bit like things haven't been in your control. You need financial control of things. Mercury's in the 9th, so you might even decide you want to do some new learning, or yeah, take up some studies, or just take up some new interests, or even travel. Could be planning a trip. Let's have a look what this is for Libra. So yeah, again, this is confirming Libra is going through a healing process. And it's really good to go through this healing process, because any Libras that are on their own and looking for partners, this is going to really help you to address the blockages, or the, if you say, the unconscious fear of commitment that may have been stopping you from attracting the person that can work with. So Libra, I mean, it is the house of partnerships, and it does like to have relationships, but Libra is quite a unique sign in lots of ways, and you know, they also need to have time to themselves to understand their own uniqueness and to express themselves. So Libra is coming into a change. There is going to be clearing and healing to do with past, again, the past hurts, the past pains, where this, again, like I'm saying, this is going to allow you to open up. And even if it's, you know, even if you're in a relationship and you're just feeling like you're not really connecting, or this person is mirroring this pain that you're feeling, or projecting it, or triggering you, you know, I feel like this is, again, the process where by going inwards, you're going to really get to fully clear that, and come into a place of more confidence, so that you can actually allow more connectedness within your relationships. So, I mean, this Uranus is a detached sign, but Libra also has that detachment. Even though it's ruled by Venus, it is actually esoterically ruled by Uranus. So, in some ways, this sort of new moon connecting with Uranus is going to be affecting Libras as much as Aquarians, but more on a spiritual sense. And I feel that this is going to be an inner experience. It's not going to be anything dramatic. Even though you could have like some situations where you feel like you've been working hard for security, and like something goes wrong, or temporarily. But what I'm seeing here is great financial news. So there could be a bit of a, you know, the bank balance is doing this over this month, and it could be quite extreme. It could be like, oh, there's a big loss here, oh, there's a big gain here. So, you know, Libra is quite in the play with that. You know, whether it's investments or business, you know, they do like to have different ways of making money. But I really feel like this spread is really about, you know, there isn't, like I said, there's new ways of making money. There is even new career potentials, or new positions in their career, of, you know, rising to another level. A sudden change of career could happen quite quickly, and really being able to achieve your goals, because, you know, Libra does set their sights high. They know where they want to go. I feel that the challenge for Libra here is to just releasing the old, letting go of the old. And I think this is all tied up with this Mars and the Neptune sitting here in the here. Hold on, sorry. This is tied up with the Sun, Moon, Uranus node in the 8th house. So that sort of makes sense there. So Scorpio, you're getting there. Scorpio has Saturn sitting in the 4th house. So for Scorpio, this is your home situation. You may be moving, or you may have just moved into a new situation and be settling in. There's you may be feeling a little bit alone in the home over this month, but it's a good time for working in the home with Saturn. It's a good time for focusing on your home situation, and also bringing in a lot more of your security and focusing on what you want to do, you know, as in future career or future direction. where you want to put your energy. So I'm not saying that that's about you going off and changing your career. It feels more like a situation where you might go, okay, I'm going to start working towards this, and it's going to be a process, and by this time you know, in 6 months time, you know, Scorpio, you know, they're not in any hurry here. I will be ready for this change of career. So, you know, it's like they're seriously looking at what they can do relative to creating more secure circumstances for themselves. Mars and Neptune for Scorpio is in the 5th house, and that's fantastic for creativity, for intuition, for connecting up with family and friends, and really getting out there and doing things, you know, entertainment, socializing. Venus Jupiter's been there too, so it's quite a social time, but it is sitting on the cusp of the 6th house. So this month, you know, Venus Jupiter, it's actually going to be a really, really good month for work. It's going to help to build up work for you, and with Chiron's been sitting in the 6th, so that's going to feel like work's been a bit of a bit hard, or a bit challenging, or it's not being as productive. With Venus Jupiter there, it's going to completely start to shift and change that. Oh, Scorpio has the Sun, the Moon, and Uranus and Node. So this new Moon in Taurus in their 7th house. So excellent time for Scorpio for relationships. Could be new relationships coming in, sudden changes to relationships. Anyone on their own, definitely, yeah, things could happen and change for you quite quickly. The nodes there as well, so relationships are taking quite an importance. And there's a real readiness there with that position for Scorpio to move forward with relationships. Mercury is sitting in the 8th, so again, releasing the old, releasing what you don't need. You'll be very clear about what you do and don't need. And Mercury in the 8th, I mean, that's a natural situation for Scorpio. They understand the 8th house quite well. They understand they have to release and let go on a regular basis. And Mercury there is just going to really be quite clear what that is. So let's have a look for Scorpio. Excuse me. Okay, Scorpio. So yes, this is reiterating what I just said about productive energy and connections. So through friendships, through your social interactions, through your social network, you will be able to build up. And there is sort of some new learning, maybe training for Scorpio here. It's going to be really energetic. It's going to be really inspiring and motivating for you for your future. So that looks really positive for Scorpio. We have the moon here sitting in the past, and I feel that it's been coming out of almost like a haze, if you like, coming out of a time of unclarity and uncertainty on what your actual direction is. And then there's these new contacts around, and definitely there's a lot to do with relationships and connections and friendships and people helping you and productively helping you. So when I was talking before about new relationships, that could be new connections, or it could just be connections around you that are suddenly bringing in new opportunities in your career. But these connections are going to have some real importance to your future, because there's a lot here to do with planning your future and really getting a lot of clarity, which is quite opposite to where this started with the moon and the lack of clarity. It's really the foresight here on what you want the future to look like. So I really feel there is a time of planning and organising your work situation to get you to where you really want to be. Now, you may not have even known where that was up until this point. In the very near future, where I said there's connections that are going to actually help to bring in and shift some changes here for you. Again, reiterating really good news and communications with others. So someone's going to bring you good news. It's going to be really exciting. So new inspirations, something that you know in your heart or in your subconscious mind is absolutely right. And it's this new passion. Again, Scorpio, they need to be really passionate. I mean, we all need to be really excited about what we're doing, to be honest, on a day-to-day basis with our careers. But, you know, if we get the opportunity to do that, it's true fulfillment. And looks like this is sort of coming in, but I feel like it's coming in through like sudden inspiration or sudden news or sudden ideas. And it's really allowing Scorpio to create a lot of security through their passion and through what they truly want to do and what they're extremely good at. Research, of course, is one of those things, and it's showing that you can really get your teeth stuck into it. Scorpio likes to really hone in and not, you know, going in for a look, as you say, and not come out for a while. So they're excellent at research, they're excellent at any area that needs real thoroughness. So, big things on the horizon for Scorpio, and a great time for speculating and seeing the future potential opportunities for you. And good news about financial assistance as well. I'm getting here money, a sum of money here that could come through unusual ways that you weren't expecting. And, you know, it's important to receive. You know, that Scorpio is, you know, can naturally give, but they can be closed as far as allowing others to, you know, as far as receiving. They may not like the commitment that goes with receiving, or feel that there is a commitment with that. And this is sort of not necessarily true. This is just a flow of energy. And if you look at it like, you know, this is keeping the energy flowing, receiving, giving, receiving. It's all the same thing. Sagittarius. Good old Sag. Let's see what's happening here for Saggy. Saggy has Pluto in the second house. Well, that could be, no, I said I wouldn't mention Pluto unless it was in the four main houses, but I will mention it in the second just because that can feel a little bit like, a little bit tough. It can feel a little bit like not having control over the financial circumstances and really just wanting to have more control in your life over finances, wanting to purchase property, you know, feeling like that's all up to fate and not up into your own control. Now, Saturn is in the third house, so that can, for Sagittarius, can make us feel a little bit like communications are a little bit difficult or not feeling as sociable. I mean, Sagittarius is generally a very sociable sign, but with Saturn there in the third, they may just be wanting to keep to themselves for a bit. Maybe not wanting to be so busy with family. And third house is more family than friends, but with family. But also just, yeah, sort of, just like I said, keeping to themselves, preferring to be maybe quietly working outside than chatting away with friends. The fourth house, Sagittarius has got Mars and Neptune. So Mars has probably been the desire to do some work around property. Also, maybe working from home could be an option as well. Venus Jupiter has been there as well, so definitely wanting to expand, maybe build, you know, drawing up plans for building work or extensions. It's always a possibility. Venus Jupiter for Sagittarius is about to move into the fifth, and Sagittarius will like that because it becomes very social in the fifth. It becomes like, yay, time for me to enjoy myself and have some sort of Leo time for Sag, as in the fifth house of entertainment and enjoyment and relaxation, but also creative outlets. Sagittarius has great foresight and they can have great creative skill, especially with practical things and outside work. So the new moon for Sag is sitting in the sixth house. So there will be a lot of focus on work actually for Sag this month. It's going to be head down, stuck in work, and there could even be some changes of career with the sixth house and with Uranus there, and again changes that come through others. And then Mercury sits there on the seventh, so a good time to be communicating with your partner what you're wanting to do. Sagittarius like to talk. and they'll be telling their partners all about what their new plans are for the future and their new career. Sagittarius, I don't think will have too much of a problem, as long as there's not too much Capricorn there going on in the chart, jumping forward into this new thing really quickly. Let's have a look. Or it could be the innovative ideas on something they're already planning and working on. For Sagittarius' favourite thing to do is to be outdoors, to be on holiday, to feel that freedom and to not have restrictions. And it does look like a holiday is in order here, and I think you Saggies are probably organising one. Don't worry, you will get to go. I can see a little bit of fear around all this plan change, or our plans changed last time. I know to feel like no, just allow that. And if this could be taken another way too, is that you could find that anything that is restricting, because Sagittarians absolutely don't like to be restricted. They if they're feeling that restriction, it's almost like, can I just break free from my restrictions? So when you feel like doing that, don't just take off and not tell anybody. Try to try to just make yourself a nice holiday and to really recognise what's going on for you. That does look like it's here. If you take it, book it. Like I said, I think the fear could stop you from booking it, because you may think, is it going to happen? But just do it, because I feel it will. So Sag is going to go through a little bit of a process of feeling like things aren't quite going to the speed they should be now. That again, I think maybe the Mercury retrograde is really going to affect you guys as well, Sag, with it being in Gemini. I think Taurus, Scorpio, Gemini and Sag will be probably affected the most with it being in with Mercury going through Gemini, as it is. Going into Gemini and then goes back through Taurus and then comes back into Gemini again. But with that in mind, it sort of feels like, you see with Sag, that the Taurus and Scorpios can cope with the slowing down, or with having problems and problem solving. And Sag is good at problem solving too, but they don't like to be held back. They really get frustrated, if things aren't moving forward quick enough. They want to get on to the next thing as soon as they can. So, don't feel like, I'm getting a situation where you may feel like, you were pushing for something and now it feels like all is lost. And I'm getting that's not the case at all. It's just that it feels that way. Just wait. Just be patient. Utilize your foresight. You have a lot of blessings around you. One of them is actually going to be your partners, actually. Believe it or not, where situations get a bit tricky. But meaning that where one situation's not going to work, it feels like somebody else is going to come in with a solution. So this seems to be around work and business and productivity, to be honest. But it also can feel like it's just around getting ahead. It could feel like I'm not getting anywhere with my mortgage or with my home, or we can't buy this property because of this money. Like I said, there does seem to be a solution here, and it is definitely coming through connections, through your relationships, and possibly even through family. This is going to bring you into the new cycle, like I was talking about, into these new ideas where you can move forward. But I feel there's just going to be a little bit of a wait. It's important to give this new space time. And so what we've got here is like sudden changes, sudden direction changing, but then not being able to move straight into that. And that could be where the frustration sits for Sag, because they want us to be able to see it's going to happen. But it does look like you're moving into much easier times, and that you're going to have a lot more control, like I said, not only financial control, but control of your workspace or your creative space. So I mean, this can be, also with people that are working for a company. They could be independent, they could be contracting, or they could just be in a position where they get to organise. But your organisational skills, meaning how you see it should look, not as in organising yourself, because I wouldn't say Sag is the most organised, but how you want things to look is absolutely part of what Sag is. They're their organisational skills, fit into this projection of the future. But it is going to be a time, a decision to step up into your own power, Sag. So I think that's fantastic. And I think it's, again, really wonderful to see the support of partners and connections here. Try not to buy into any battles, or a Mercury in retrograde sometimes with miscommunications. Sag can be very upfront and then sort of create a little bit of conflicting situations because people can take them the wrong way. So try to be a bit patient with people and not jump the gun too much. Not like an Aries would jump the gun and finish the sentence or think you're going to say something else, but more the talking over people. Just try to sit back and hear their side of it to gain a perspective of where they're coming from. I mean, Saggy is very smart. They have all the answers, and they will tell you about them. But I love Sag. I have a lot of Sag. So, Capricorn. Capricorn, we have in the first house Pluto. This has been relevant for quite a while, Capricorn. Sorry to say you've had Pluto sitting in your first house. It can be quite encumbering. It can feel quite heavy, and it can feel like you don't quite have the control in your life within your environment. Now, we will have a look at how we can work with that, because of course this has been the effects for Capricorn for quite a while now. As you can see, Pluto up here in Capricorn, it's gone right through here. It's only at the last 2 degrees. As we move into Aquarius, we're finally in the age of Aquarius, yay. But once Pluto finally gets out of Capricorn, I think it's going to be really, really good for Capricorns. They're going to feel like, finally they can breathe a bit more, and they can really have a bit more control in their environments. Saturn's been sitting in the second, and Capricorn is quite a frugal sign as it is, but with Saturn sitting there, it's sort of going to make it a bit more frugal. Making sure that they have paid their bills, that they've got enough money. It's a really good budgeting placement. And Capricorns are pretty good budgeters. But with that, it does mean that your finances may feel a bit limited at that time. And again, Saturn, you're nearly at the end of that as well. So once that moves out of there, I think you can find finances are going to flow a lot easier. You have Mars and Neptune and Venus and Jupiter have been in the third, so this has been a good time to be connecting up with family, friends, good time for communicating, writing, and really gathering information and learning. Venus, Jupiter is about to move into the fourth, and Capricorns will really like that, because it's going to give them a lot more stability in the home situation. It's going to give them a lot more productivity in the home situation. It may even allow them to work more from home. It may mean that they can actually look at purchasing a home or moving into a new home. And it's going to be something they absolutely love with Venus, Jupiter there. Chiron's been sitting there, and again, this has been a deep processing and healing time for Capricorn. This new moon sits in the 5th house of creativity, so get into your creative mode. Capricorns are really good at detail. They're really good creative, artistically or all forms of creativity, because they're actually very thorough, very detailed in what they do. Not like in a Virgo way of learning the, of getting right into the details, but more they're just, they notice a lot, they see a lot, and they can really look at something and really see it right at 100%. Clarity. So they could be probably the biggest critics of anything that they do. Mercury is in the 6th house, so that could be a good time for studies or learning for your career, or even really just looking at getting a new job. Could be a time for that. So let's have a look at Capricorn. What's in the cards for Capricorn? So where I was saying with Capricorn, how you can feel like there's been a bit of a lack of, that at a financial level, they're sort of showing here that, yeah, it feels like a little bit hard done by feeling. Now that is going to start to change, but you have to change it. You have to change it with your vision. You have to change it with your creative mind. And this is, like I said, a good time for your creative inspiration and your creative mind. Write down what you want to manifest, because the reality is that you're actually very powerful. You're actually very determined, and you're going to be extremely successful. Fantastic cards here for Capricorn. The card's covering a little bit like, if your energy's been a bit scattered, it's really hard to get your focus. Might be a good time to do a little bit of a detox or a clearing. Now, just looking at Capricorn, Chiron is in the 4th, and so yeah, that's quite an important time. So making sure, if you've been, overloading yourself with toxins, cleansing out the liver, it's a really good time for doing that, because that is all part of possibly making you feel like there's no hope or you're never going to get out of a rut. Now, the reality is, from these cards, is that you have a fantastic new situation coming in, a new opportunity, this whole new energy coming in. And I think this is going to be, as you come to the end of with Pluto coming out of Capricorn. I mean, this is just for the month, but I just feel like we're at the end. We're at the last 2 degrees, and you're going to start to really reap the rewards of having to deal with Pluto in your sign for all this time. And there's going to be a really big reward here for all you Capricorns. It's and don't forget, I'm talking about not just Capricorn sun signs, I'm talking about Capricorn ascendants as well, and the same goes for every spread that I've done today. So what you have here is this whole new inspiration, this whole new energy. It could be a time of falling in love. It could be a time of developing new skills, discovering something about yourself, discovering talents and abilities, and also getting really good news where things have not gone in your favour. And that could be legal, or it could just be where things have been out of balance, but things are going to turn for your favour now. So this is a wonderful time to be moving forward. I feel like Capricorns could do with some help from others, or when I say do with some help, they could accept the help or try accepting the help of others. Capricorns are very independent. No, I'll do it my way. I'm sure whoever wrote my way was a Capricorn. Could have been a Leo, or an Aries, but I feel like it was a Capricorn. And this is about like being the leader and being in charge, and being in charge of your own destiny, but also allowing others to bring you in the opportunities that will get you to where you need to get to as well, because I'm getting that you're going to be helped by family, friends, or siblings. Now, for those Capricorns that have been on their own, because I think that things could have felt quite lonely with the astrology that's been going on, Saturn in the 2nd, Chiron in the 4th, it's time to really open up to new relationships and new connections with people. I feel like they've gone through a process of self-learning. And even the Capricorns that have been in relationships, they may feel like they're doing things on their own, or they may have been isolating themselves from their partners. I feel like they can now reconnect with their existing partners or create new relationships for themselves, because I feel like there has been a choice with Capricorn to be on their own. Maybe they've preferred their own company. Maybe they've, whoever's been around them hasn't quite come up to the mark for them. They do have high standards. But I feel like there's been a really real inward journey, and as Pluto is progressing through into the 12th, you really are clearing out a lot of stuff. So, very good news again, especially for those that have the right integrity, that have the right heart. So, the sign of Capricorn, it represents where it's like a spiritual initiation as we move through the zodiac. And when I say as we move through the zodiac, it's an evolutional, if we look at the zodiac as an evolutional wheel. When we get to Capricorn, Capricorn represents, the material at some level. It's not quite the material of Taurus, which is all the things we need, the safety of the home and that sort of thing. But it's more the extra things that we use. But it really represents wanting to reach the goals, wanting to either, it could be extreme from the, from the person that is just completely humble and not wanting to own anything, like the hermit out in the bush, to the businessman at the top of the industry. And as we progress through Capricorn, it comes to a point where, the hangman, which I fully relate to Capricorn and Virgo at times, is this card here. This is where we hang up our material values for our spiritual values. That happens near the end of Capricorn, which is really the process we're in now, when the material becomes less important and the spiritual becomes more important. And this is what I'm saying with Capricorn. A lot of them have this innate, depending on their evolutional cycle and how they've come through Capricorn, or, where they're sitting with it, what parts of Capricorn they're using. But this is actually, saying that those that really have the right integrity, those that really want to make a difference in the world, those that are there to help others, that have their values in the right place, are actually going to be really rewarded. So that's a lovely thing. That's a wonderful thing to see. The outcome here for Capricorn is joining and networking with others and working in teamwork is going to be of great benefit. Partnerships will be bringing in more security, and there does seem to be some really good financial news here coming in for Capricorn for this next stage. Aquarius. So, Aquarius has Saturn in the first house, and so makes them very serious at this point in time. Makes them very hardworking. Aquarians can be very hardworking anyway. They traditionally, Aquarius was ruled by Saturn before they discovered Uranus. So some of these Saturn attributes are there with Aquarius anyway. And Aquarius can, it represents the number 4, and it actually is foundations, even though it sort of tends to look like it's breaking foundations down, like break down the old for the creation of the new. So with Saturn there in the first house, that is quite it's like all work and no play in the environment. And now that would be at work and at home, because it's your immediate environment. You have the Aquarius has the Mars, Uranus, Venus and Jupiter in the second house. And this is going to be really good for finances for Aquarius for this month. Also for productive energy. It's probably been good for the last month as well, to be honest, because it's actually about to go into the third house. And that will actually bring it into the house of communications and friendships and family. So Aquarians may have family asking for money. Just kidding. But we also got Mars here in the second house. So again, it's, really like steadfastly working towards assets and goals. The Sun Moon conjunction, the new moon, Uranus and the node, sitting in the 4th house. So this is going to be possibly a change to do with property, or establishing more property for Aquarius. Mercury's in the 5th, so a very, very creative space to be in. Great time to be writing and also entertaining. So that Sun, Moon, Uranus and node in the 4th is interesting. That's bringing through connections and people that could be relevant to changing the direction or something to do with property. It's not really a change of career as much, so it's really a lot to do with your foundations. Uranus sitting there sort of shakes the foundations up, but Aquarius is pretty used to Uranus, and it's pretty quick at adapting and changing if it needs to. Let's have a look. With Saturn in the first house, Aquarius could appear to be a bit hard at times, but that is again transiting. It's not forever. It's just how they're feeling. Life's all about work. Okay, so Aquarius is feeling a little bit hard done by as well here. Looks like we've got an interesting month coming up. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, Aquarius. they are going to need to be adaptable. And even though I did say they can generally move quite quickly into new things, you know, with the Saturn in that first house, it is bringing out more of the Saturnine type in Aquarius, and it's sort of like, I could see a decision here, a situation coming up that could feel a bit upsetting. It's sort of that's something they weren't expecting, and they're feeling like they've got to make a decision. And I feel like with this, there's actually something saying here you don't have to make a decision about it. You're actually in a position where you have to trust. So where is Chiron for Aquarius? Chiron's in the third house. So trusting in situations, trusting in family, trusting in siblings, your children, other family members, that may be important. Yeah, this is interesting for Aquarius. It's a bit of a wild card one. It looks like they could be moving on into other things that are going to be a lot more fulfilling in the future. But that could be met with a bit of resistance at first. When I said about making decisions and it's too hard, just don't make it. You've got to really see the clarity. You can't make a decision immediately just because you're in a panic situation. You need to wait. You need to see what you're moving to. It's a bit like saying, oh, I can't stay with this job. I've got to make a decision, yet you haven't found the other job yet. It's just about being patient and not being extreme, especially in your communication about it. Yeah, Aquarius is going to have opportunities for new growth and learning and new ways of expressing themselves. Feels like they've been hindered or held back a bit through the astrology in the past, and this is going to shift, but also sort of going to come to a bit of a head to help Aquarius to address what's really going on. Aquarians are very, it is a very unique sign. They're very ingenuitive. They're very creative in lots of levels, and it feels like they're being at this point in time sort of spiritually guided for higher things. So in other words, if you're an Aquarian and you're listening to this, you're being guided to work with spirit for something more purposeful, to be in charge of your own situation, and to not, be in a situation where things are becoming unproductive. See, Aquarians don't suffer fools easily, so to speak. If you're dealing with mismanagement, difficulties with others, things feeling like they're going in the wrong direction, it just feels like there is an out coming, and you may not be quite prepared for it, but just allowing this process to happen, seeing what is opening up to you, and seeing where the universe wants to take you, because this is very divinely orchestrated by the universe, and this is why this is probably more of a tougher spread to read, because it's not going to tell me too much except you are being guided, and your world might be turned upside down for a little bit, but it is going to be turned the right way up by the universe, and it's going to look so much better. It's actually going to allow you to use your creative mind and your creative energy, your creative skills. And when I say your creative mind, your ingenuitive mind, the inventive mind, the problem-solving mind, and the organized mind. So, yeah, feels like, even though we're sitting in the fourth house, that's still foundations. It's still really how we see ourselves and that sense of our security. And work is all tied into that. And it does look like, with the cards here, that this is work situations that are possibly going through a bit of a revamp at this time. Okay, so we're at the final sign, good old Pisces. Let's have a look at Pisces. So Pisces, you've got Venus, Jupiter, not for much longer, and Mars, Neptune, all sitting in your sign, putting it all in the first house placement, or Neptune ascendants. So Venus, Jupiter still got a few days left. Jupiter will be there for a little bit longer. But this is really good for projecting yourself out into the environment, for setting yourself up in business right now, for working with your creative skills, and also your psychic energy, which is very strong in Pisces. Chiron's been in the second house, and so this means that finances could be a sore point, or point of hurt or upsetting you. And when I say that, what it might mean is that it could be a situation in the past. So Chiron relates to situations that have happened in the past. And if there's been any sort of where you feel any wrongdoing, you know, relative to finances, this actually could be triggered with Chiron sitting here at this point. Communication, great time for communications, great time for writing, and sudden changes around your family, friends, siblings. Sorry, not friends, family and siblings. With the Sun, Moon, Uranus node there in the third. But, you know, if you're wanting to do some studies, learning, communications, networking, any way of getting your information out there, this is a perfect time for it there in the third. Mercury sitting in the fourth, which absolutely confirms that as well, and says you can do this possibly from home. Pluto is sitting in the 11th, so just let fate bring in any new friendships and to sort out any old ones if that's needed. If you're feeling that area is a bit empty for yourself, that's all right. It's going through a process right now of clearing out, and like I said, this is a very fated time for the friendship sector for Pisces. And Saturn sitting in the 12th, so you know, every now and then fears that are connected to past lives may come up, but that would just come through dream space. It's the 12th isn't really emphasised here. Okay, Pisces. What's in store for Pisces? Well, this looks pretty good for Pisces so far, pretty clear. Pisces, this is all saying that you are going to get a lot of help and assistance through others, and that you have got some new learning coming in, where you are either teaching or learning. It feels like if it is teaching, you're still learning, of course. But it does look like you're really going to get stuck in and take things to a new level. And this is all for a higher purpose, for your higher purpose. This is sort of directed by yourself, something new that you're wanting to learn and do, and to step into more. Might be something you already understand, but it's still a learning process as you go. So it's a new situation there, and I feel it's going to be sort of service to humanity in some form. Now, there's a lot of leadership qualities around Pisces right now. Let's see if we can see why. Let's keep it out. Not really from the astrology, but it's showing that you are stepping into your power, Pisces. This is going to be a very powerful time. Let me just look at the wheel for a second and see what Mars. Yeah, I think with Mars going through, I mean, for quite a while we just had Neptune sitting there, which was, you know, in its natural position. But with Mars here, I think this is why it feels like the energy to really step into your true power. That would make sense. So Pisces are also quite visionary. They their energy is very subtle and sensitive, but they have a lot of foresight, they have a lot of intuition, and they have a lot of skills that they don't even know they have, that can get triggered at any time because they've been around the zodiac at least once. They've had plenty of lifetimes, but also Aries also could have gone around the wheel more than once, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that Pisces are any older souls, but what I'm saying is that by the time you come to Pisces, you actually have a good understanding. You've been through all the zodiac and you have a great understanding of everybody else. In fact, the best understanding, and that's why they can be empathetic, because they can understand they can put themselves in other people's shoes quite easily, put it that way. So for Pisces, I feel like there's innate skills and talents that will be sparked off through a process of things happening, a series of events, or a series of, when I say events, connections to people. It does look like career opportunities for Pisces here, which looks like it's really perfect situation. It's got a lot of very positive cards around it. very fated, and also, again, it's involving someone else here. It feels like this is going to be a great time for team effort and teamwork. So Pisces, you're going to get a big help up through people and connections and teamwork and, like they say, knowing the right people at the right place. Well, it's not what you know, it's who you know. But it just seems to be that time for Pisces where connections will be bringing in a lot of changes. There could be some, excuse me, there could be sudden movement, sudden change. Feels like it could be either a sudden trip or sudden moving to be in a different place for work. I don't think that's necessarily within the home. That feels quite settled. It feels like all these changes around work, but what I think that's going to do is going to get you out and about and out of your own environment. So if you've been in a settled time, and a time where you've just been sort of hiding away at home, you're definitely going to be coming out and being more seen in the environment in the near future. And especially for Pisces that, have their own businesses or are doing their own things. For those that aren't, it does look like there could be some, like I said, wanting to develop these new skills. You're going to get a lot more fulfillment through your social connections and through your discovering of talents and the interests and hobbies, if you like, that you pick up or take on over this next period of time. You're going to get a lot of fulfillment out of that, a lot of good results, and also potential to make career out of. So I hope that helped you all, and we'll see you next time. Bye.